All right, so let's talk about it. Did you get in touch with Elon yet? He didn't call you back?
No. I texted Vivek though.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
Nothing. Nothing really.
Did he go back and forth with you at all?
I don't. Well, a little bit. I don't want to get into. I don't want to be like a.
Yeah.
I want to tell every text message that like a person that has follower.
No, right. Is he cool or was he like mad at you?
Just regular.
Can you bring that mic up?
He was regular at you.
He was regular at me.
He was like, yes.
No, we didn't say anything. I asked him to come on the show.
What did he say?
Hasn't replied yet.
He'll come on.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll get hold on. TJ Miller.
Mm-hmm. That would be so cool.
TJ Miller and Vivek Ramaswamy.
TJ Miller would be awesome.
I don't really know what happened, as you know.
Regarding what?
Like
the whole thing?
Yeah, what was said.
It
I know
was,
what you did, but
the H-1B program is the program that is ostensibly used to bring skilled workers into this country, but it's abused. It's like grossly abused. It's hugely abused, and it doesn't even select for skill. When you apply to it, your chance of getting it, even if you're like a high IQ, super smart Indian, your chance of getting in is like 0.2% or something. It's gamed. You basically pay to have these like companies submit 20 applications on your behalf or whatever the process
who games
is.
The best?
I mean, Indians.
Really?
It's all Indians, but there's a Cognizant. This company Cognizant here. There are companies that and I'm not up on all the facts. I just have the heuristics here. There are companies that specialize in bringing Indians over, and then I think some of them, the Indians get here and they have to pay a certain percentage of their wages to the company that brought. It's basically indentured servitude. It's kind of, and I think in most cases, if you're one of these Indians that comes here like that and you quit your job, you have to go back to your country. So companies, I guess, love it because they can pay them,
$7.11 an hour,
30% of what they would pay, or 20% of what they would pay a comparable white guy. And if the person complains or has a problem, they just get booted back to Kirga Jaga. Jaga.
Wouldn't it be funny if the company was called 711?
So,
and they paid $7.11.
That would be funny.
Would you like a squeegee?
I forgot what started this shitstorm off, but Elon and Vivek and the Tech Bros. The Tech Bros are the All In podcast.
The one that talks like this?
The Jason Calcanus.
Sachs.
David Sachs, which those guys are
smart
scammers. They're very sophisticated scammers, but they're and I wouldn't lump Chamath necessarily in with scammers. I mean he's I don't know if he's a scammer in his bones, really. He's pushed SPACs and Solana and this other stuff, and I've talked to like sharp Indian nerdy guys like Chamath, and they are like that. Like, it's not. Can you look at a picture of Chamath? Like, I don't want to write Chamath off entirely, but the guys that look like this, they are like, well, there's a way you can make money now. It's crazy. It's crazy the way they're making money. You have to do it. There's no other. It's as far as like
I enjoy listening to that All In podcast clips.
Yeah.
I don't hate. I don't have like I've seen 50 clips of it. And do you hate them?
No, I don't. I'm not well versed enough in any of this material
Yeah.
really to hate anybody. But the vibes I get from David Sachs and the Jason Calcanis guy are just scammy vibes. And the nerds, when nerds clean up and get hair plugs or whatever, and they start to gravitate towards power and like this leather jacket shit that these guys do.
Yeah.
It's like
Stop.
once you reach a certain who Jensen Wang does that. You look up Jensen Wang, first picture, he'll have a leather jacket on.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. These guys, once these guys get to this point, they're like, yeah, I should start wearing a leather jacket. That would be badass.
Why?
Because I have the ear of Trump.
So?
What do you mean?
Trump doesn't wear leather jackets.
He doesn't?
I think Trump has
Trump wears a blue suit with a white shirt and a red tie every day.
But I'm the guy.
Sure, but what's with the Moto Guzzi leather jacket?
You don't like Moto Guzzi brand?
No, I'm not a big Moto Guzzi guy. I'm more of a Harley guy. More of a Harley bagger racer guy.
This is what's the brand that starts with D? Dionysi. It's a Dionysi.
Is that the brand of leather jacket?
That's the Italian the brand that makes the suits and stuff.
So you become, your antennas come up when you see a nerd.
Yeah, these guys, that's the revenge of the nerds, and they want to wear leather jackets and be like, we're one day computers are going to run everything, which is not. I don't think it's true in the sense that they mean for it to be true, and it's also not. It's only a foregone conclusion to the extent that people act like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's not. The ultimate I think the ultimate form, the final form of AI is surveillance and slop. And I think that I'm not smart enough to dig into this topic and explain it, but the vibes that I get, the gist that I think that the people who are the real hard subscribers to this idea that we've somehow created computers that can think, I think they are blinded by a lifetime of reading science fiction. So when you're one of these guys that does the computer stuff, even if you look slick and you have a V-neck t-shirt, no logos, no jewelry, all that stuff, even if you drive a Tesla, or like Sam Altman driving the not the
Pagani.
Is it a Koenigsegg? Regera, Koenigsegg Regera. Sam Altman wearing plain Gap t-shirts, driving a Koenigsegg Regera.
At the speed limit.
These guys, no matter what they look like or what their aesthetics are, they are sci-fi geeks, and that was their sort of escape in high school and college and whatever, is reading these books. And the great idea is that man will take on a God creator role to shape reality however he wants. And step one of that is taking on the role of life creator, which would be a computer that can think. So they're blinded by this, first of all, and I suspect that they fundamentally don't understand what thinking is. There's a I think their enthusiasm for, get this faggot's face off the screen, please, Chris. Their enthusiasm for tech, and once you pop the lid of that can of tech, it's like cars.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the twin turbo whatever your fantasy car is.
You start ricking out.
You start ricking out,
Mhm.
and you're like, we can design a system to do this better. Can you
Bore it
imagine
out.
if it was 3 times fast? That shit,
Bigger pipe.
they become obsessed
Air.
with that shit. And there's also one thing that comes into play is the McNamara fallacy. The McNamara fallacy is in the Vietnam War. Okay, Vietnam is a world away from Washington, D.C., a world away from the leaders deciding, no, thank you, the leaders deciding what happens on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no way for the U.S. leadership to go to Vietnam and see what's really happening. And so the only way that they can understand it is through, or the strongest way that they think they can understand it is through data points. And so the McNamara fallacy is, I think it's the idea that whatever is quantifiable is worth paying attention to. Let's read this here. Let me see here. Making a decision based solely on quantitative observations and ignoring all others.
So they're like, all right, we march 50 soldiers, 50 clicks into the forest this way, eastward, and then we'll be able to conquer, based on our weaponry, we will be able to conquer 10x in the reduction of their arms.
Basically, platoon strength and body count
is what
they're going
get there.
off.
There's guys shooting heroin and fucking ladyboys.
Correct, yeah, exactly.
They're like, all right, we're going to fucking just 50 clicks. And they're like, all right, you ready to march? And they're like this.
Yeah.
Triple A's up in my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no. I kiss the sky. Bam, 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 bam. And they're like, I hate listening to college-educated generals.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's my uncle who in his platoon, they shot the general, or not a general. Their commanding officer was a college-educated guy.
Yeah.
These guys have been out there for 2 years. They shot him in the back.
Yeah. So
because he was a dickhead.
So that's McNamara fallacy is pinheads pushing numbers around, thinking that that's how you understand a situation.
Yeah.
And they're missing pretty much everything that's not quantifiable, meaning everything that you can't put into a number, which
sex,
is
ladyboy, cigarettes, heroin,
troop morale, and also the fact that every Viet Cong you kill, you create the 4 or 5 other members of his family or people that were thinking about fighting become insurgents now or enemies now because you killed their family member. So this is a thing that very high IQ people fall prey to. And it's like it's a huge source of confusion. There's some other thing that was I forgot what it was called, but it was the idea that when you try to optimize for a quantifiable data point, you almost never are able to do so. Like if you wanted
optimize,
here's the example. If I wanted to, like I've been thinking about, we've been thinking about how to monetize the comedy stuff for years, right? And it's like, should we charge like the prices are going up? Should we charge customers $12 a month? Like that type of decision.
Yeah,
and how do you optimize for that? Or should we save money and like fire Chris? Like everything is completely. Chris is nodding his head. He wants to be fired. Like there's no piece here. There's no piece in this office that could go, and there's no way to squeeze customers for more money.
Right.
So like trying to
figure it out. We've done nothing.
That type of figuring. The only thing that you can do is like make better content.
That's it.
That's the only thing. But but that's not optimizing. That's an example.
Reverse.
It's the opposite, right? Like spend like
more.
instead of thinking about money, you have to think about your craft essentially. And there's a lot of things in life that are like that, I think.
A lot.
Yeah.
You have to do the best thing, and it has to be like golden in its intent, and it's like you have to say almost I'm going to throw caution to the wind here, and I'm going to stop, because if I drive myself in the minutia will drive me crazy, or it won't happen. It will entangle for nothing. That'd be like tripping over your watch while you're getting your family out of a fire.
If I spent all day coiling cables to make sure they're organized.
So you don't get, when the fire happens, they're in the closet.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool.
So anyway, I think that when it comes to AI, I think the people who are the people who no layman, nobody that's as smart as us can really or has the time budget that we have can suss out what the real deal with AI is. Like we're
I'm
not
with you.
I can't look into computer code and figure out really what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah. Go ahead.
the people who are the people that we trust, that the media trusts to do that, are the same people who get Koenigsegg Regera money because of the hype surrounding this new computing paradigm. So it would be like if nobody else knew how to do sketch comedy, what would we tell people? It's the hardest thing to do in the world. We're the only ones who can do it, and it's also the future of all life is sketch comedy.
Right, which is very dorky.
Yeah.
In its nature.
It's dork. It's really is dork shit. Yeah.
It's like yeah, he might have muscles and everything.
Exactly.
But does he have a sword that can cut through metal?
These guys that are the he might have muscles and everything guys.
Yeah.
They have the spotlight on them, and they're I in my opinion
is that a sociocultural thing that's popped up from the back end of like Shark Tank and media, vapid media?
It's all of it's interlinked, but I think that they're overdoing it, and I think that it's short-term thinking. So anyway, I think that the US economy, you know how people always talk about growth of economy and stuff? I think this is, and again, I'm not a data points guy. I just go based off of hunches. I go based off of tweets, basically memes. But I think that the global economy in general, but the US economy is slowly grinding down. I think that productivity in real terms, and what you can do is you can do things like financialization, which is like 12% of our GDP is finance. Can you look up what percentage of GDP?
I was gonna say,
what percentage of GDP is finance in 2025? It used to be like 10%, and I think it's growing. And when you count this,
this is like when stocks pay dividends.
It's just banking and trading and all this stuff that's moving. It's so listen, I'm not like an imam, a Muslim cleric that thinks that all finance is haram or whatever. That's like an Arab thing. It's a Muslim thing. It's also like usury. It's a Christian thing.
Yeah, the Persian guys who would lie to each other about paying banknotes, and hide behind things when they're paying interest.
Right.
You're paying interest.
Right.
6%.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Yeah, 100% you are.
This is
Tell your God.
Nick's talked about this when he sells cars to the Persian guys.
Yeah, or when I don't.
They find ways to pretend like they're not paying interest on the loan.
Yeah, it's fun. Let's play games.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yes, you are. You're God. Tell your God you paid 7.5%. Tell your God the buy rate was 5.5%. Though I paid 2.2.
So I'm not.
You're not against finance.
I don't believe that there's no place for finance. I think that's the cost of capital.
Yeah.
If you loan somebody money, you should ask for. You can't just loan people money. You should be able to ask unless it's a family member. But if it's a business that you're taking a risk on,
you should, and
you're the money guy, you should ask for a return. So, and also there's legitimate usages for finance. Like obviously every company that's ever been big enough to really move the wheels of history has gotten money from the public and from investors. It's not like a thing that should be outlawed or something. But a lot of this stuff, this is just based off of my YouTube algorithm, people talking about making money Forex trading and stuff. It's parasitism. It's people looking for a way to be like a clever middleman.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a place for clever middlemen. There's a place for, like, if you're a farmer, having insurance for weather and stuff like that, or
if you don't know that you're spending money in my friend Kenny Antidizio does this for a living. He does Forex trading. What the fuck do you actually do? And he's like, I open accounts. Like, say Shamanic starts buying Italian glass, and we start spending a lot of lira.
Mhm.
He's like, I'll pre-buy your money for you.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even think about that. He's like, you'll do it on an Amex,
Mhm.
but if you're going to do, let's just say $50,000 a year, I could probably save you the finance charges less. So it's not, that's not trading in general
Mhm.
is gambling at its least.
Well, my point is that I'm not saying it's totally evil. There's uses for it. Like modern day farming, my guess is it would be impossible if you couldn't have corn futures and stuff to make sure that you're financially protected if there's a drought, something like that, right?
Right.
But most of it, just from looking at the sort of high profile people who are on the news and seeing what retail, like regular people are trying to achieve on YouTube, it's all scam shit.
Mm.
So the point being that measuring productivity, like how good are we doing as a country,
Yeah.
based on this Fugazi statistic.
Is there a pie chart, Chris?
Point being that the only way to say that the U.S. economy is growing is by measuring the wrong shit.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the basket. What's the basket of type in basket goods cost. It's the fucking cost of a basket of goods. Consumer price index.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So consumer price index is, for example, this is just one. It's just like, what are you looking at? What are you choosing to measure, right? So the consumer price index is the basket of goods that represents how much it costs to be an American. And it's like a gallon of milk, a gallon of gas. It costs this amount. And a gallon, like there are things that, this is a Michael Saylor point. There are things that are just like basically free, like Domino's Pizza, Netflix,
flat screen TVs.
It's flat screen TVs. Remember, that was the plot of Fast and the Furious. The original one was they were stealing TVs, like they were fucking gold.
In 2001, they were stealing TVs.
Yeah,
I was drinking then, but
I was drinking and I was a tranny then.
I was a woman, and now I buy Bitcoin. The house on Long Island that I own was
you're doing
sold
I thought you were doing Chris Beck.
No, I'm doing Michael Saylor. My house on Long Island sold for $100 in 1901. It's about to sell for $101 million.
Right.
Does the flat screen TVs that Vin Diesel stole in Fast and Furious 1 worth any less or more money? The value of Bitcoin is going nowhere but up.
So CPI is like a bunch of stuff that's it's basically free, and it's also stuff that like it doesn't really reflect wealth. It reflects the measure of what is needed to get by. So wealth would be like college education, healthcare, the stuff that you actually like want, right? Like you want your kids to be educated, you want your family to be healthy,
high yield savings.
You want to have a house, and you want to have some measure of wealth. Like you want your life energy that you're spending to be poured into some asset that you can preserve value in. But none of this is in the CPI. The CPI is like Netflix, Domino's, gasoline, fucking milk, stuff like that.
Hair bonnet shit. CPI is also a tool every election cycle to directly point the faults of the bad left.
The other thing about that is that
it comes up it's always like used as it's always
sure, yeah.
And it's wrong. I don't care about it.
It's used every time there's a political thing. Anytime the marker's bad. But the thing about that is that the economy is a slow moving beast. It takes some of this stuff happens over decades. So anytime they blame, like I wouldn't necessarily all the blame that gets foisted on Biden, for example, it's just you're talking about stuff that was set in motion
10 years
50 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just it's a lot of noise. But back to AI. So it's like how are they measuring the growth of the GDP? In my opinion, it's grinding down. It's only been getting worse for people. And we have fans who turn their lives around and stop smoking weed and get blue collar jobs and buy houses and stuff. And that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But we also have fans who are like, I have $400 to my name or negative $400 to my name. Like it's generally, it seems to me that over the past, we've been adults for, 20 years. It seems that stuff has been sliding down, and the stuff that has been getting better, which is like cell phones, video games, what have you, it's just vapor. It's not really related to fulfillment, human fulfillment of potential or quality of life or anything like that. Like it's not getting easier for people to buy houses.
Buy houses, have children, procreate.
Right.
The one, and again, I don't read. I don't know how to read.
You don't need to read.
I have my IQ is very low. I am
Your IQ is
retarded.
not low. You don't need to read.
I every grade I got Fs. I was an F student every year. Somehow they passed me because I paid.
Well, you didn't watch the Holocaust and slavery films long enough.
I couldn't because I had to take a
get
shit
straight A's.
because I was too busy eating all my snots. And I was eating all my paper and my they'd give me a test, I'd eat it, Sam.
I was eating